So let's start first with how unique the drop in the market is under Trump, because I have heard from some Republicans that say this is pretty normal stuff.
Yeah, if this is pretty normal stuff, I'd like to know what not normal stuff is.
Markets naturally fluctuate under all presidents. One day or short-term drops can reflect uncertainty or investor repositioning, not necessarily systemic collapse.
If this is a boom, I'd like to know what a bust is. I mean, my goodness gracious. We'll talk about it. I mean, talk about the S&P 500. It's dropped 15% under Donald Trump's presidency. The S&P 500 has been collecting data essentially since 1957. It's been an index. I went back and I looked for drops of 15% with a president who was inheriting a bull market. There's only one dude on your screen. It's Donald John Trump. He is the only one to see a drop of 15% this soon into his presidency in the S&P 500 after inheriting a bull market.
While this statistic is technically accurate, it lacks broader context. Previous economic declines often stem from external shocks like 9/11 or the dot-com crash. Causation here is more complex.
In fact, there's only one other president who has seen a drop of 15% this early on in his presidency, and that was George W. Bush back in 2001. But of course, he was in fact inheriting the dot-com bubble bust. And so this is truly unique, where you come in with a bull market and then boom, right through the floor.
Bush faced the dot-com crash and 9/11, major economic shocks unrelated to his initial policies. Historical comparisons require a full view of each presidency's circumstances.
Donald Trump, the S&P 500 dropping already 15%, Jessica.
And so there's the market, but then there's the chance of broader economic problems.
A recession is typically defined as 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. Early risk projections are based on probability models, not certainties.
And that chance is right. That possibility is rising, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. A chance of a recession, something none of us want to see. And what's the chance of a recession? I mean, J.P. Morgan, look at this, now up to 60%. It was 40% in early March. How about Goldman Sachs? It was 20% in early March.
A recession is officially 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. Forecasts are not certainties. They're estimates based on changing models.
We're now up to 35%. Basically, at this point, you average all these different companies together who put forecasts out on the chance of a recession. It's about 50-50, way up from where we were at the beginning of this year. Polymarket, where you can trade, was, I think, a 30% chance at the beginning of the year.
Forecasts are based on evolving data models, not guarantees. These probabilities shift rapidly with changing inflation, interest rates, and consumer behavior. Casual phrasing can downplay the seriousness of complex economic analysis.